Hey everyone. So I saw this post by Chloe Cole, who is a really popular, if that's the right word, detransitioner. She was the first one to really speak out against the medical establishment for performing gender surgeries on her when she was underage. And uh, she went to, I think it was a Charlie Kirk vigil, and she met this person who she's talking about, had the blessing of meeting this amazing woman who helped give me a voice and the courage to detransition. And she says, I'm not kidding when I say detransitioners are everywhere. I met Rose tonight at tonight's vigil hosted by Turning Point USA. So I really wanted to say that indeed detransitioners are everywhere, and in fact, I am one of them. I spent from being 18 to 22 years old, I identified as, I don't know if I ever called myself trans or transgender, but I certainly identified as female. And I had my name legally changed to Eliza Hope to match that identity, which it's still legally Eliza Hope now, 7 years later. I really gotta fix that. But I wanted to also show a picture here, so hopefully, yeah, that was me in like 2018. And I look at that and I'm just like, that's not even the same person anymore. I hardly even recognize that. But I didn't have any surgeries, I didn't take any hormones, but for all intents and purposes, I was socially out, and I dressed in feminine clothing, and I had nail polish on, and I used she, her pronouns, and I was into it. That's what took over my life at that point, and that went on from about, like I said, from when I was about 18 to 22. Um, and I'm not going to give like a whole lot because it would be a lot, but I can definitely say that those were some of the most challenging and honestly terrible years of my life. I was going through so much in my head. I had been not indoctrinated into gender ideology. In fact, I had a very different path than what most people's paths are, where I took something from Jungian psychology and totally misinterpreted it, and thinking that by somehow embracing this female part of myself that I could feel more whole. And it led me down toward, I would say, like a pathology, a really bad neurosis, a psychosis, whatever you want to call it. It was the time in my life where I was more depressed than I had ever been. I was taking drugs. Was I was aimless. I wasn't going anywhere in life really. I had a really solid persona. Like I really seemed like I was happy and full of energy and going somewhere, but underneath that really sturdy mask that I built for myself was someone who really lacked a lot of confidence, who lacked a purpose, who was disconnected from God, who was disconnected from any kind of real purpose or drive or motivation to be here in this life. I was definitely suicidal in those years, and I did everything I could to numb and escape from myself. But you can't. And so I had this dichotomy of this face, this persona, this person that you're looking at here, and this person, me, actually me, underneath it, just decaying and not able to come through, not able to really be the person that I'm meant to be, the person my mom wanted me to be, the bearer of Christ, Christopher. So I just thought it would be good to share this because, like Chloe said, Detransitioners are everywhere, and they're not all going to look the same because not everyone takes hormones. I wasn't keen on taking hormones or getting surgeries. In fact, I was doing this kind of before it was a really big movement. So I wasn't. It was just a little bit different in 2017 and 2018. So, but I think it's an important part of my past, even though I say I don't recognize that, but I think it's an important part because I know what it's like to be wrapped up in that hellhole of a perspective. And it really, when you start viewing yourself in a way that's actually not true to who you are, and I know some people might say, that's just your experience of it. Being that person has given me an insight into the archetypal experience of it, meaning the universal experience of it, meaning it's not just my bias. When you go down that path of not being yourself, when you go down that path of avoiding life and avoiding difficulties and avoiding God, that is who you become. You become something that you're not. You try to be everything that you think you want to be, but fall short every single time and in every single way. And I see it with a lot of other people, not all trans people, of course, but so many other people. I look at them and I see exactly what I saw, what I see in myself. And I know what it is. And I know that it's not the right place to be. And I want to help. I actually want to help. I really care. I have a lot of empathy. Or maybe, I guess, a better word is sympathy. No, maybe empathy, because I was there. And I want people to understand that focusing on who you are and making your identity the crux of your personality is it's a false way of living, because you're only looking at one singular little part of yourself. And to make that your entire identity, well, it's a travesty, because there's so much more. And the only way that I've been able to get out of that and find myself again is through Jesus Christ. My wife helped me a lot. She allowed me to look at myself in a different way. And it's been a long time coming, but I figured it out. And you need to have someone in your life that can help you do that. So I wasn't really going to have a specific point with all of this, but other than just to share something that I've thought about and I've felt for a long time, that especially my family members that are watching this, I know must be curious, have some curiosity about it, why I changed my name, why I was dressing like a woman. I mean, I was really trying to just avoid the person that I was. I didn't like the person that I was. That's why I changed my name, I changed my look. And I didn't like the person that I was because I wasn't following in the right footsteps. I wasn't seeking after Christ. I wasn't enacting my purpose, the reason why I'm actually here. But instead, I was following what I thought would give me purpose. And there's a big difference. When you let go, and you realize you don't really get to choose what your purpose is, you just have the ability then to recognize what talents you have and how to use your experiences to enact the purpose that you've been given by God. So that's all. I know it's preachy, but it is what it is. And I believe that to be objective. So yeah, just a little bit. If you have any questions, leave them in the comments, message me, whatever. I would definitely love to share more of my story with people who would find it helpful for them. They're on that path where they don't know who they are, what they're doing, and they're going down this path of gender ideology, and they think it feels right, but then there's so much in you that's still conflicted, and you can't figure it out. maybe I can help you. So please, I'm open. Thanks for listening.